Welcome to Widow Talk. My name is Maureen Jerichoic, and I'm your host today, and I have the privilege and honor to being here with my friend Judie McCoy, a remarkable woman who has worn many hats with grace and excellence. Judie is not only a devoted mother and grandmother, but she has also she has been a top achiever in her profession, reaching the pinnacle of success with her hard work and determination. She has been a guiding light and a mentor in my life, offering wisdom and support. It's thanks to Judie that I had the pleasure of meeting my late husband, Pete Jerichoic. I'm so grateful to have her in my life as a life coach, a friend, and an inspiring role model. So, Judie, can you share your journey of finding love again after loss?
That's really an interesting question. I was pregnant at 18 and got married a week after graduation. And of course, no one believed it would stick, but I was truly in love. And got married, had 2 kids by 20, and was married for 42 years, ups and downs, all arounds. And then one day my husband just fell from a heart attack. And so I was at this crossroads after 42 years, 45, including dating. I had no idea what I was going to do. I was broken. I was broken. First, of course, denial. This couldn't happen to me. It can't. No, that's for someone else. Then I got so mad, and I didn't think I was angry. But one of my friends said, "Oh, Judie, you were so angry." I said, "No, I wasn't." And she said, "You were so mad at him for leaving you." And I went, "Really?" And then I was bargaining with God. Okay, Lord, why me? Now, what can I do? I'm just disappointed in you that you would allow this to happen to someone who had so much faith and belief. And then I really got depressed. I remember, and this sounds horrible, but I'll be honest, wishing I could be in the coffin with him. I remember saying, "I just want to be in the coffin." Oh, that was horrible. And it lasted for a little bit. And I had to accept the fact that this was my life. And it was mine, not yours, not anyone's. And I had to move forward. So I learned regrets. Oh my gosh. How could I have been, why didn't I understand? It's just part of it. And then I decided I have to make a decision. That was tough. I'm either going to move forward or move on. I know many women who are widows. In fact, I had a widows group through my church. One night, we all got together at my home. There were women from their 80s to 30. And just sitting there as the hostess, I could just feel the emotions of these women. And one of the things that really got to me, in fact, why I didn't continue the group, is that you could pick out the women who were done. Their life was over. It could never be good again. And then the women that were happy it happened, they had great husbands, and they wanted to move forward. And I think that helped me decide, really, what am I going to do? I mean, are you going to stay this way? Oh, hard though. So hard. I'd go to church and I'd look at couples, and I'd be, so agitated. I'd have tears. Like, how can that be? Why are they so happy? But you know what? I was happy. And I was not wanting to move forward to get out of not being happy. I wanted to move forward for a new life, for a new world, for something I do believe. Okay, faith is easy, I think. Anyone can have faith. Hope is another story. Many women I know who have suddenly been widowed lose the hope. They think it's over. With real faith, you go beyond that, and you know that God's plan includes hope.
That's so good, Judy. That is so good. What were some of the most important steps that you took to heal and move forward after your loss?
Well, the first thing I did is decide that I was not going to let my husband be forgotten. And I have 2 kids and their spouses and 5 grandchildren. And what I did is I bought these stones for the garden. And I had each one of the grandkids say, "Thank you, Grandpa, for showing me how to fish," or whatever. Now, that was 14 years ago. And they are still there up north at our cottage. Oh, my goodness. In fact, we look at them, we love them. Oh, my goodness. Then I made a video. And actually a friend did, and it's beautiful. For each one of the kids, with special pictures of Grandpa and them. And then I made books. In fact, I love them. And it was when they were a baby and Grandpa was holding them. And then his birthday was around the corner. And I got a balloon, and he loved music. And I took an old, music thing, and I attached it to the balloon. And we sent it up so that Grandpa could have some music again.
Oh.
You know what? I still look at that video. I still look at the books.
I love it. What a beautiful example of just finding hope and renewing your faith and knowing that someday you will be together again. How did you know you were ready to open your heart to a new relationship? Because now Judy is remarried. So from the time of Gary's loss to the time that you started to open your heart up to new possibilities, what did that look like for you?
I decided. It didn't just happen. I woke up one morning and I remember, and I thought, is this all there is? Are you going to be miserable forever? And I thought about the people I knew who were happy with a spouse, and I thought, why can't you have that? Now, I was not out looking for a husband, believe me. I was not. But my heart was open to exploration. And I looked at the world differently, and I really did. I know it sounds crazy. I found that hope. Now, I was not looking for another Gary. I was not. He doesn't exist. And there was no competition. You know, I've noticed some people will remarry a spouse that looks just like their new spouse or whatever. Oh, mine is completely different. But I looked for qualities: kindness, love, faith, all those things that were important to me. Today, it's really easy because my new husband, Fred, is totally open to my marriage to Gary. In fact, okay, you're going to laugh at this. He said one time, "Well, what are we going to do when we're all in heaven? Have a menage a trois?" And I said, "Are you kidding me?" But truly, he will sometimes say, "Okay, Gary, now what am I going to do with her? I've got to channel you to figure out what I'm going to do with her." But you know what? I think it's because I decided that I'm worth it.
Mm-hmm.
And I deserve happiness. Do you know how many women I know who put their heads in the sand and stop their growth, their productivity, their influence? They wear a hair shirt forever. That's not going to be me. And it wasn't. Self-love, honoring, and embracing a life that is no longer there, but open to new possibilities. And believe me, I know it sounds easy, but it isn't. I know. I know the nights that I slept with a t-shirt on the pillow next to me. The first holidays, even now, it's been 14 years, and every once in a while, I'll just tear up.
Mm-hmm.
But now I talk to him and say, thank you for your love. Thank you, Lord, because I did love and I did have happiness. Not always perfect, of course, but today I look at my children, what a difference he made in their lives. They exhibit many of his qualities. My grandkids, I keep him alive for them. And I think widows are women of wow. I think they've experienced something that most hopefully never will. But until you go through it yourself, it's very difficult to explain it to someone else. I embrace every widow out there. I understand the pain, the loneliness. I understand it all. But I just want to remind you that there is hope. And the future doesn't have to be bleak. Seize every moment. And one more thing. I want you to really concentrate on finding something funny in every day. Funny things happen. And allow yourself to laugh and to smile and even to be silly. Because life is not about putting your head in the sand and being miserable.
I love that. So, Judie, one of the things that you really shared was how when you met Fred, your new husband, how he was totally accepting. I feel like in relationships and as we build and grow as widows, sometimes that's a really difficult spot to be in, is where you meet somebody, but they find out you're a widow and they might be like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
it's terrifying to them, and they don't know if they'll be enough, if they're the right person or whatever. But what I sensed is that, Fred obviously is a confident man, but what kind of boundaries or what kind of conversations did you have with him that allowed you to have such an open relationship where he was accepting and loving about your husband, Gary?
Well, I was open about the love that I had for Gary. And I did not compare. Oh my goodness. He's completely different from Gary. And I told him one time, a few months ago, we were talking, and I said, I love you every bit as much as I love Gary, but differently.
Mm-hmm.
And so I talk openly. He knows. In fact, this is interesting. He said, one of the things I loved about you was the fact that you loved your husband. Because some people are so angry that they lose perspective, and then to the rest of the world, they don't show love and kindness. They show anger.
Great point.
So, he's seen the videos. He sees the pictures. It's good. I never thought it could be that good.
Wow. I love the fact that you can openly talk about him, that your love for him was always an eternal love, but yet you were able to open up your heart to someone new, and it's an open, like it's an understanding, like it's real. That's so healthy and so great. What advice would you give to someone who's struggling with the idea of moving on after losing a spouse?
Well, keep the word out of the word on. You don't move on. You'll never, ever forget those feelings and the love you had for that person. Ever, ever, ever. But I believe that the Lord did not intend for us to be miserable. And I just read something today, and I'm going to read this to you. Learn to laugh at yourself more freely. Don't take yourself or your circumstances so seriously. Know that I am God with you. Laughter lightens your load and lifts your heart into heavenly places. Your laughter rises to heaven and blends with angelic melodies of praise. Just as parents delight in the laughter of their children, so I delight in hearing my children laugh. I rejoice when you trust me enough to enjoy your life lightheartedly. Don't miss the joy of my presence by carrying the weight of the world and the past on your shoulders. Rather, take my yoke upon you and learn from me. It's comfortable and pleasant. My burden is light and easily borne.
So laughter really can make a huge difference in moving you forward in the healing process.
Oh, people say the funniest things. Oh my goodness. I've heard them all. And, I learned to laugh at them. Not at the person, but it's like, well, they don't get it. Of course not. I find laughter and I find joy in almost everything. I really do. Even the day of Gary's funeral, I said to our pastor, I said, today is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it.
Wow. Such a strong, I love the strong perspective that you have in the healing process. Was there anything particular that you really focused in on self-healing? So as you were going through the journey, like from...
No.
Okay.
In fact, I went backwards.
Okay.
No, it was a really rough time. I started smoking. I had quit since 1984. I started smoking. Why? I don't know. Self-destruction, anger, I don't know. And I went through that, and then I woke up one day and said, why, Judy? Why are you doing this? And I decided to quit, and I did. I think we often penalize ourselves for the pain that we feel, when in reality, pain can be joy.
Yes. If
you look at it as another phase of life that you learn from and move toward.
I love that. So I know we've talked a lot about balancing and all of that, but how do you balance honoring the memory of your late spouse, Gary, with embracing your new life? What are some tactical or practical things that you could share on that?
Well, first of all, the balance is not intentional. It's as it comes. So, for example, we have a vacation home up north, and now, of course, Gary and I built it, and now, of course, Fred and I go. We're going next week. And we always visit. He's buried up there. We always visit the cemetery. And it's not depressing. It's okay. It's good. So celebration of that life, balance, isn't intentional. It's not a time clock. It's as your emotions flow, you share an experience. And you know what? My new hubby, he has emotional things too. So just as he allows me to have those feelings, I can have that for him too. Freedom to express who you are and what you feel.
Wow, that is so powerful. So, in initiating a new relationship, as you know, as widows are starting to know their own self love or whatever, figuring out where they're at with that, whether they want to date again or whether they don't want to date again, those boundaries are so crucial
Well,
to
just
set those up.
let it happen. You know what? My first date, okay? I think I used mouthwash 5 times. I probably took 4 showers. I mean, it was so uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
But when you meet the person that's right, it's not uncomfortable at all.
Wow. It just all comes together. So when you met Fred, how long did you guys date before you guys got married?
I think 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, it's funny, my accountant said to me, you don't have to get married. In fact, it's a lot easier not to be married financially. And I said, that's not my values. That's just not who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my old school Catholic upbringing. But I just couldn't be with a man without a commitment like that. Now, that doesn't say it's right for everyone, but I honored my values and what I thought.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing. Judie, I absolutely love your journey and what you shared about love and loss and the challenges and the things that people go through. And what a journey that you've been on. You have led an incredible journey in your life, professionally, emotionally, and just how you've impacted so many people. And I just know that the widows that are watching this, or just the single women, that this episode will really impact just how you think. I hope it does. I hope it makes you think differently and it opens your heart up to possibilities for self-love, self-care, and new opportunities in your life. Thank you so much for being on here and make it a great one. Bye.